Captain Vexithari felt her secondary heart skip when the navigation alert flashed red across her command console. She had been piloting ships through dangerous space for over 30 cycles, but she had never seen a warning like this one. The luxury cruise liner Serenity's Edge was carrying diplomatic delegates from 12 different alien species to an important peace summit on Kepler Station. Everything was supposed to be routine. The message from the Galactic Navigation Consortium made her neck ridges stand up in fear. An entire star system had been marked with the highest danger level possible. The system was called Sol, and it contained a planet called Earth where a new species lived. These beings called themselves humans. "Captain," her communication officer called out nervously, "the warning says we should stay at least 50 light-years away from their space. That is further than most war zones." Vexithari read the full message, with growing alarm. The official report was short but terrifying. Extreme caution required. Unpredictable sentient species detected. Multiple instances of impossible tactical decisions recorded. All vessels advised to maintain maximum safe distance. What made her hands shake was the personal message from her own government. The Altarian High Command had added their own warning. Under no circumstances should any Altarian vessel approach Earth operational zone without full military escort. This is not a suggestion. She had never seen her own people so scared of another species. The Altarians were known across the galaxy as brave explorers who would fly into black holes if it meant discovering something new. If they were afraid of these humans, what kind of monsters lived on Earth? "Ma'am," Junior Navigator Kethmore said quietly, "we have a problem. Our current flight path takes us very close to the Sol system. Actually, we will be flying right through the edge of their space." Vexithari's claws clicked against her chair as she tried to stay calm. "Show me the alternative routes." Kethmore's face went pale. "That is the problem, Captain. Every other route is blocked. Some have maintenance warnings. Others show dangerous space weather. A few routes are completely closed because of pirate activity. It is like the galaxy is forcing all ships to fly near Earth." She studied the navigation charts for several minutes. Every safe path around human space was mysteriously unavailable. Ships traveling in any direction had only one choice: fly close to Earth or not fly at all. "This cannot be a coincidence," she whispered to herself. Her security chief, a large Chronarian named Pextel, leaned over her shoulder. "Captain, I have been checking the databases. In the past 6 months, over 40 ships have reported strange encounters with humans. None of the reports make sense." "What do you mean?" "The humans do things that should be impossible. One report says a human ship flew directly into an asteroid field during a rescue mission. Another says they fixed a broken engine by hitting it with metal tools. A cargo freighter captain swears he saw humans use their ship to play some kind of ball game with space debris." Vexithari felt cold. "Are they hostile?" "That is the strange part. None of the reports mention any violence. The humans seem friendly, even helpful. But they do everything wrong according to normal space travel rules. They take risks that should kill them, but somehow they always survive." The ship's computer chimed softly. "Captain, we are now entering the outer detection range of Sol system. All crew should prepare for possible contact with human vessels." Through the main viewing screen, Vexithari could see the small yellow star that gave warmth to the human homeworld. It looked peaceful and normal, nothing like the dangerous place described in the warnings. "Captain," the sensor operator called out, "I am detecting something strange on long-range scanners. There appears to be massive amounts of debris floating near the third planet." "Wait, that is not debris, those are artificial structures." "Space stations?" "No, ma'am. They appear to be incomplete ships, broken satellites, and large pieces of metal, floating in organized patterns. It looks like the humans are building something enormous in their orbit, but they are doing it in the strangest way possible." Vexithari made her decision. "We maintain course, but increase our alert level to maximum. All weapon systems on standby, but do not power them up unless I give direct orders. We do not want to appear hostile to these humans, no matter how strange they might be." As the Serenity's Edge moved deeper into human space, every crew member felt the tension growing. The warning messages had prepared them for danger, but they had not prepared them for the unknown. What kind of species could make the entire galaxy nervous without being openly hostile? The answer to that question was about to become very clear, and it would change everything the aliens thought they knew about intelligence, survival, and the impossible things that could happen when logic met human creativity. In the depths of space, something was watching their approach, and it was already planning the most illogical welcome party in galactic history. The human ship appeared on their sensors like someone had built it in their backyard using spare parts. Captain Vexithari stared at the reading in disbelief. The vessel was roughly welded together with mismatched metal plates, and several sections looked like they had been added as an afterthought. Steam or smoke was venting from at least 3 different locations. "Is that ship damaged?" asked her security officer. "I think that is just how they build them," replied the sensor operator nervously. The communication board lit up with an incoming message. A cheerful human voice filled the bridge. "Hey there, beautiful ship. This is Captain Jin Woo of the UES. Defiance. You folks look like you might be lost. Need some directions?" Vexithari exchanged worried glances with her crew. The human sounded friendly, almost casual, like he was talking to neighbors over a fence instead of unknown aliens in deep space. "This is Captain Vexithari of the Serenity's Edge," she replied carefully. "We are simply passing through your space en route to Kepler Station. We do not require assistance." "Oh, come on, don't be shy. We love visitors. How about we give you the grand tour of our neighborhood? I promise we won't bite much." The last word made several crew members reach for their weapons. Was that a threat or a joke? With humans, it was impossible to tell. Before Vexithari could respond, every alarm on the bridge started screaming. A massive asteroid, easily 10 times the size of their ship, was racing directly toward them on a collision course. The impact would happen in less than 2 minutes. "Emergency evasive maneuvers," Vexithari shouted. "All power to engines." But Captain Jinwoo's voice came over the radio again, now sounding excited. "Ooh, perfect timing. Everyone hold on to something. We're going to do the thing." "What thing?" Vexithari demanded, but the human ship was already moving. The Defiance accelerated directly toward the massive asteroid at what could only be described as ramming speed. The little human vessel looked like a metal fly attacking a mountain. Every alien on the bridge watched in horror as the ship grew smaller and smaller against the enormous rock. "They are going to die," whispered the navigation officer. "Why would they sacrifice themselves for us?" asked another crew member. The asteroid filled their entire viewing screen. The Defiance was seconds away from being crushed into tiny pieces. At the very last moment, when collision seemed certain, something impossible happened. The asteroid split open like a giant metal flower. The Defiance slipped inside the opening with perfect precision, disappearing into what was clearly not an asteroid at all, but some kind of camouflaged structure. The fake rock closed around them and everything went quiet. "What just happened?" Vexithari asked nobody in particular. Captain Jinwoo's laughter came over the radio. "Sorry about that. Probably should have warned you. That's our mining platform disguised as an asteroid. Pretty clever, right? We call that maneuver aggressive parking." The fake asteroid began moving away from them, and as it did, they could see other similar structures scattered throughout the area. What they had thought was a dangerous asteroid field was actually a collection of hidden human installations. First time seeing human engineering? Jinwoo continued cheerfully. "We like to hide things in plain sight. Keeps the neighbors from complaining about the noise." Engineer Somin's voice joined the conversation. "Captain Jinwoo, you forgot to mention the part where we almost missed the docking bay because Taeho was eating noodles during the approach." "Hey," came another voice. "I can fly and eat at the same time. That's called multitasking." Vexithari realized she was listening to the humans having a casual conversation while performing maneuvers that should have been impossible. They talked about nearly crashing into their own station the same way her people might discuss the weather. "Captain Vexithari," Jinwoo said. "You still there? Your ship's running awfully quiet." "We are processing what we just witnessed," she replied slowly. "Oh, that was nothing special. Wait until you see how we parked near the space elevator. Last week, Hyojung used Jupiter's gravity to slingshot her cargo ship into the docking bay. Saved 3 hours of flight time, but she came in so fast that she overshot and had to circle back through Saturn's rings. You flew through Saturn's rings? Well, just the outer ones. The inner rings are too dangerous. We're not crazy. The definition of crazy was clearly very different for humans than for the rest of the galaxy. What they considered normal flying would be classified as suicidal by every other species. Look, Captain Jinwoo continued, we're going to escort you through our space just to make sure you don't run into any of our projects. Fair warning though, we've got some experimental stuff running right now that might look weird. As if on cue, something massive moved past their ship. It looked like someone had taken a small moon and covered it with engines, solar panels, and what appeared to be giant rotating restaurants. What is that? Vexithari asked weakly. Oh, that's our mobile party platform. We're taking it to the Centauri system for a wedding next week. The happy couple wanted something memorable. The aliens stared as the moon-sized party ship slowly rotated past them, playing what sounded like festive music loud enough to hear through the vacuum of space. Vexithari was beginning to understand why the navigation warnings existed. The emergency signal came through just as Captain Vexithari was starting to think they might escape human space without any more surprises. The distress call was weak and filled with static, but the message was clear enough to make her blood freeze. This is research vessel Quantum Harmony. We are trapped in a gravity well near Jupiter. Our engines are failing. Estimate 6 hours before structural collapse. Any ships in the area, please respond. Vexithari checked her navigation display. The Quantum Harmony was caught in the pull of what appeared to be a collapsing micro-black hole, one of the most dangerous phenomena in space. The ship was spiraling slowly toward certain death, and there was nothing anyone could do about it. Captain, her navigation officer said quietly, the nearest rescue ships are 4 days away. Even if we tried to help, our engines are not powerful enough to escape that gravity well. The human ship Defiance was still escorting them through the system. Captain Jinwoo must have heard the distress call too, because his voice came over the radio with a completely different tone than before. Gone was the casual friendliness. Now he sounded focused and determined. Serenity's Edge, this is Jinwoo. We're going to handle this rescue. You might want to back away to a safe distance. Captain Jinwoo, Vexithari replied, that is a micro-black hole. Your ship cannot possibly generate the power needed to escape its gravity. This is a suicide mission. Yeah, probably, but we're going to try anyway. Engineer Hyojin, how are we looking for crazy plans? A woman's voice answered over the radio. I've got 3 different ways we could die horribly, Captain. Want to hear them? Give me the one that might actually work. Okay, so here's the idea. We use Jupiter's gravity to build up speed, then ride the magnetic field lines like a wave. If we time it right, we can match the research ship's spiral pattern and grab them on the way down. Vexithari felt her heart skip. That is impossible. The gravitational forces would tear your ship apart. Probably, Jinwoo agreed cheerfully. But we've got duct tape and a really good attitude. Pilot Taeho, plot a course for Jupiter. Make it a fun one. The Defiance broke away from its escort position and began accelerating toward the massive planet at a speed that made no sense. The little human ship was pushing its engines far beyond safe limits, trailing sparks and vapor as it flew. Captain, Vexithari's sensor operator called out. They are flying directly into Jupiter's radiation belt. Those energy levels will kill any organic crew in minutes. But the humans seem to have thought of that too. Through their long-range scanners, they could see the Defiance's hull begin to glow as some kind of energy shield activated around it. The ship was literally surfing through radiation that could cook a planet. This is insane, whispered Vexithari's security chief. What happened next defied every law of physics that Vexithari knew. The Defiance used Jupiter's massive gravity to slingshot itself toward the micro-black hole. But instead of flying in a straight line, it began to spiral and loop through space in patterns that hurt to watch. The ship was threading between gravitational fields like a needle through fabric. Hyojin, came Jinwoo's voice over the radio, now strained by the incredible forces acting on his ship. Please tell me the engines are still attached. Most of them, she replied. The port engine is making funny noises, but I'm hitting it with a hammer and that seems to help. Wait, Vexithari said to her crew. Did she just say she was hitting the engine with a hammer? Percussive maintenance! Hyojin's voice crackled through the static. When electronics don't work, sometimes you have to convince them more directly. The Defiance was now visible near the trapped research vessel, both ships caught in the deadly spiral toward the black hole. But somehow, impossibly, the human ship was maintaining a stable position relative to the quantum harmony. Rescue ship to research vessel, Jinwoo called out. We're going to throw you a line. When I say jump, you jump. No questions, no hesitation. We'll only have one chance at this. The next few minutes were the most terrifying thing Vexithari had ever witnessed. The Defiance extended what looked like a simple metal cable toward the research ship. Both vessels were spinning and falling toward the black hole at tremendous speed, but the humans were somehow matching the exact motion of the larger ship. Now, Jinwoo shouted. The research vessel's crew leaped across the gap between ships just as the quantum harmony began to break apart under the gravitational stress. The Defiance immediately fired all its engines in what should have been another suicide maneuver. But instead of being pulled into the black hole, it used the gravity as a springboard to launch itself back toward Jupiter. The return trip was even more insane than the approach. The Defiance bounced off Jupiter's atmosphere like a stone skipping on water, used 2 of the planet's moons as gravity assists, and somehow arrived back in normal space trailing fire, debris, and what appeared to be party streamers. Rescue successful, Jinwoo announced calmly. Research crew is safe. Our ship is held together by hope and engineering tape, but we're still flying. Anyone know where we can get good noodles around here? Vexithari stared at her displays in complete silence. She had just watched humans perform a rescue that every computer in the galaxy would have calculated as impossible. The warnings about Earth's zone were starting to make perfect sense. Word of the impossible rescue spread across the galaxy faster than light-speed communication. Within hours, every spaceport, trading station, and military base was buzzing with the same story. The humans had saved a ship from a black hole using nothing but crazy flying and determination. Admiral Korkstall of the Hegemony Battle Fleet received the news while reviewing invasion plans for 3 different star systems. The report made him pause his military briefing and read it twice. Then he called for an emergency meeting with his war council. These humans are becoming a problem, he announced to his gathered officers. They are unpredictable, which makes them dangerous. Unpredictable. Species cannot be controlled or reasoned with. They must be contained before they spread their chaos to other worlds. His tactical officer pulled up a holographic display showing human space. Sir, we have 47 documented encounters with human vessels in the past month. None resulted in violence, but all involved actions that our computers classify as impossible. That proves my point, Admiral Korkstall said firmly. A species that ignores the laws of physics cannot be trusted. We will take our fleet to Earth and establish a containment zone for the safety of the galaxy. But the Admiral was not the only one interested in humans. Scientists from 12 different worlds were already packing their research equipment. Traders saw opportunity in a species that could perform impossible rescues. Even tourists were booking passage to see the legendary Earth zone for themselves. By the time Admiral Korkstall's battle fleet arrived at the edge of Sol system, over 200 ships from dozens of different species had gathered there. It looked more like a space carnival than a military operation. Sir, his communication officer reported, we are receiving a transmission from Earth's government. Put it through. Let me hear what these humans have to say for themselves. The message that came through was not what anyone expected. Instead, of a military commander or political leader, a pleasant female voice began speaking. Greetings, friends. This is the Sol System Cultural Exchange Committee. We're so excited to see so many visitors. Admiral Korkstall frowned. This must be some kind of trick. The voice continued. We're hosting our first ever Galactic BBQ competition and cultural festival. All species welcome. We have food, games, music, and lots of surprises. Please follow the navigation beacons to find parking. Don't worry about bringing anything. We have plenty to share. Before the admiral could respond, dozens of small human ships began approaching his battle fleet. Instead of weapons, they carried signs reading, "Welcome visitors," and "Try our kimchi," and "Free hugs available." A cheerful human voice came over his ship's radio. "Hi there, big scary warship. This is Captain Soonja of the Welcome Committee. Would you like a tour of our system? We have some really cool stuff to show you." "I am Admiral Corkstall of the Hegemony Fleet," he replied sternly. "I am here on official military business." "Oh wow, an admiral, that's so exciting. My grandson Jae-sung wants to be in the military when he grows up. Would you like to meet him? He's right here helping me pilot this ship." A young voice piped up. "Hello, Mr. Admiral. Mom packed extra lunch if you're hungry. Do you like rice? Balls?" Admiral Corkstall stared at his communication panel in confusion. He had come here to establish military dominance over a dangerous species, and instead he was being offered food by a grandmother and her grandson. "Sir," his tactical officer whispered, "our scanners show that most of these human ships are not military vessels. That one approaching our port side appears to be some kind of mobile restaurant. Another one is broadcasting what sounds like children's music." Through the main viewing screen, Admiral Corkstall could see the strangest sight of his long military career. His massive battle fleet, designed to strike fear into the hearts of enemies, was surrounded by food trucks, tour buses, and what appeared to be a ship shaped like a giant birthday cake. "Admiral Corkstall," came another human voice over the radio. "This is Communication Officer Min Ho. My grandmother Soonja wanted me to tell you that she has a special bulgogi recipe that's been in our family for generations. She thinks you look too skinny and wants to make sure you eat properly." "I am here to assess the human threat to galactic security," the Admiral said weakly. "Oh, that's easy," Minho replied. "We're definitely a threat to boring parties and empty stomachs. Grandma Soonja's cooking is legendary. She once made enough kimchi jjigae to feed an entire refugee convoy. Made them all cry happy tears." Admiral I. Corkstall's War Council looked at him expectantly, waiting for orders to begin the military operation. "But how do you establish dominance over people who greet your warships with offers of homemade food and family recipes?" "Sir," his sensor operator reported, "we're detecting what appears to be a massive outdoor cooking operation on Earth's surface. The thermal signatures suggest they're preparing food for thousands of beings." The Admiral realized with growing horror that the humans had turned his military intervention into a community potluck dinner. His carefully planned show of force was becoming a neighborhood barbecue, and somehow he was the guest of honor. The warnings about human unpredictability were proving to be completely accurate, just not in the way anyone had expected. The crisis began without warning while Admiral Corkstall was still trying to figure out how his invasion fleet had become a dinner party. Emergency alarms screamed across every ship in the Sol system as something ancient and deadly awakened near Saturn's rings. The massive structure that emerged from hyperspace was clearly not built by any known species. It was a twisted mass of dark metal and pulsing energy, easily the size of a small moon. Ancient symbols covered its surface and waves of electromagnetic interference rolled off it like a plague. "What is that thing?" Admiral Corkstall demanded. His science officer's voice was filled with terror. "Sir, it appears to be a harvester, AI from the old wars. The legends say they were designed to consume all technology and convert it into more copies of themselves. This one has been dormant for thousands of years." On every ship in the system, computers began shutting down as the AI's influence spread. The ancient machine was already reaching out with invisible tentacles of code, trying to infect and control every piece of technology it could find. Captain Vexithari watched her ship's systems flicker and fail. "How long do we have before it reaches us?" "At its current rate of expansion, maybe 30 minutes before all ships in the system are under its control," her science officer replied. This was exactly the kind of extinction-level threat that the galaxy's most advanced civilizations would spend months carefully planning to defeat. The Harvester AIs had once destroyed entire star systems before being stopped by a coalition of ancient races working together. The human response took exactly 17 minutes and made no sense whatsoever. "All ships, this is Admiral Dae-sung of Earth Defense Command," came a calm voice over the emergency channel. "We're implementing Project Mayhem. All civilian vessels, please prepare for immediate combat conversion." Admiral Korkstall stared at his tactical display as the impossible began to happen. The human food trucks were extending weapon systems. The tour buses were deploying missile pods. Even the ship shaped like a birthday cake was somehow transforming into what appeared to be a heavily armed assault vessel. "How are they doing this?" he whispered. Engineer Hyojin's voice crackled over the radio as she worked frantically on her ship. "Standard human engineering, Admiral. We build everything, with hidden features. My grandmother's recipe box has a laser cannon in it just in case." The battle that followed would be studied by military academicians for generations, mainly because it broke every known rule of space combat. The humans attacked the Harvester AI using tactics that included food delivery, asteroid mining equipment, and what appeared to be an organized chaos that somehow worked perfectly. Captain Jinwoo led a squadron of converted civilian ships in an assault pattern that looked like a children's game. "Remember everyone, we're playing tag with a giant robot brain. Don't let it touch you and try to confuse it as much as possible." The AI, designed to counter logical military strategies, found itself completely overwhelmed by attacks that made no strategic sense. Human ships would fly directly at it, then suddenly veer off to deliver what appeared to be takeout food to other vessels. Mining lasers designed to cut through asteroids were being used as weapons. A cargo ship full of party supplies somehow launched a devastating attack, using what its captain called aggressive confetti deployment. "This is impossible," Admiral Korkstall muttered as he watched the battle unfold. "They are using party decorations as weapons." "Sir," his tactical officer reported, "the human strategy appears to be working. The AI cannot predict their next move because their moves make no logical sense." The end came when Engineer So Young, wearing nothing but a maintenance suit and carrying a toolbox, somehow managed to get close to the AI's core housing. While massive space battles raged around her, she calmly floated up to the ancient machine's central processor and began examining it like a broken refrigerator. "Hey, Captain Daesung," she called over the radio. "I think I found the problem. This thing has been running for thousands of years without a proper shutdown. The main power coupling is probably corroded." "Can you fix it?" came the reply. "Fix it? I'm going to turn it off. Hold on a second." What followed was the most anticlimactic end to a galactic crisis in recorded history. So Young simply reached into the AI's core housing, found what appeared to be a main power connection, and unplugged it. The massive Harvester AI, terror of the ancient galaxy, shut down like a computer whose power cord had been pulled out. "There we go," So Young announced cheerfully. "Sometimes the best solution is the simplest one, even if it looks really stupid. Anyone know where I can get a good cup of coffee around here?" Admiral Korkstall sat in his command chair, staring at the now silent, ancient weapon. His entire battle fleet had been prepared for a war that could have lasted months. The humans had ended it in less than an hour by having an engineer walk up and unplug the enemy. Captain Vexathari finally understood why the navigation warnings existed. Humans were not dangerous because they were aggressive or had superior technology. They were dangerous because they had somehow turned chaos itself into a tool. They made decisions that worked precisely because they should not work. The Galactic Navigation Consortium updated their warning about Earth's Zone one final time. "Expect the unexpected. Bring snacks. They will share theirs if you share yours. Also, if anything seems broken, they can probably fix it by hitting it with something."